Hey everyone, as I mentioned on our daily financial news this morning, I have a special guest, someone that is going to be very important for me to listen to because it is about building a brand, understanding your brand in the real estate business. We are going to talk about real estate investing, why it's important to have a brand, go slow to go fast. Let's welcome Stacey to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, Michael. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Life is good. Life is good. Even in these crazy times, you got to have a positive attitude.
Absolutely. It gets you up in the morning and gets you through the day.
It's you have 24 hours in the day, and you know what? If you're grumpy, you still have 24 hours, and if you're happy, you still have 24 hours. I promise you, you smile a lot more being happy.
Yeah, make the most of that day.
There you go. Well, Stace, do me a favor. Introduce yourself to the audience. Who is Stace? What do you do? What do you do in this real estate world? And then we'll really get to kind of merging your two passions.
Sure, absolutely. I've been a real estate investor for about 20 years. I bought my first single family home that I rented 1997.
Hmm.
And since then, I've built a small portfolio with my brother. He and I own a number of homes in Connecticut, mostly singles and duplexes. And in the past year and a half, I bought a small apartment building here in Massachusetts where I live. So I'm trying to become more active in the real estate world, like you say, adding one building at a time, one rental at a time. But what I do in my day job is branding
Right.
for businesses and entrepreneurs. So I've been in advertising for about 20 years, and I'm merging the two so that I can work with people in real estate so that I can build my credibility in real estate, and I can also offer them some of the guidance that I have from the branding world. So there's a synergy between the two.
Well, that's when you can figure out life to work on your passion and have your passion feed your passive income. You've kind of figured out the secret sauce. So you're definitely on the path to doing that, which is pretty outstanding. So let's just round out your active investments first. So you started with a house. But 97. That's 23 years ago. That's
Mhm.
pretty awesome. You just said you did a small multi in Massachusetts. Small meaning 4, 6, 8,
Six
10,
units. Yeah,
6.
6 units.
So you entered commercial. Congratulations. You got over 5, right? You got a commercial loan.
Right.
You're a buy and hold guy, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
One rental at a time is your thing. So when you talk about your day job being in advertising, what does that really mean in branding? Is that like business to consumer, business to business? There's lots of areas that could go. And where do you play in that landscape?
Sure. That's a good question. So advertising and marketing is a broad category of things that people do to help businesses reach customers.
Right.
What I focus on now is branding. And so branding is helping you establish who you are as a business or entrepreneur, to help you find what your mission is so that you can connect with your ideal customer. Advertising would be the part where you
Okay.
execute on the brand. You take it out to people. You launch it on a website or advertising or videos or content creation. But what I focus on now is helping people get started, because I found that a lot of times people will want to jump into the marketing of their business or their product without having the solid foundation. And it comes down to something I've heard you say about going slow to go fast. And that's about preparation for the task ahead, creating a map to get you to your goal, and being purposeful and building a foundation rather than just winging it.
Mhm.
It's getting all the upfront information and knowledge you need to guide you through every challenge, every decision that you have to make.
Yeah, that's you're you, the real estate investing industry needs someone like you because I see it every day, right? I don't know, 2 years ago, maybe it was 18 months ago, every time I turned on my phone, there was a new wholesaler looking to build a buyer's list or whatever. And they were just, there certainly wasn't a brand, right? It was just another
Mhm.
person, doing this because they saw YouTube University. It was easy. But those aren't businesses that often last long. They actually burn out pretty quickly, right? I call them shooting stars, right?
Mhm.
You get excited about something, you jump in because you saw someone else said it was easy, but to your point, there really was no mission, right? There wasn't that anchor that you could always go back to and go, okay, I'm going to get up and do it again tomorrow. It was money. Money is a horrible motivator for a company, in my opinion, right?
It is. I agree.
Yeah, those. I mean, occasionally you have a hit. I got it, but it's on average a horrible reason to start a company. Money, right? So let's talk about what are some good anchors for a mission, again, to go slow, to go fast, right? When you're thinking about flipping or wholesaling or buy and hold or all these other things, again, you're usually talking to mom and pops, right? They've got 20 units, 10 units, they do 5 deals a year. Why? Let's talk to that person. Why do they need a brand, right?
Sure. So there are a lot of benefits that come from establishing a brand. And I just want your listeners to know, to be a brand, you don't have to be like Nike or Starbucks. You can create a personal brand, a brand around you. So if you're the face of your business, if you're the only person in your business, you can still establish a mission-driven organization so that you have a guiding principle that steers you through every challenge that's going to come your way. So for a mom and pop operation, the things a brand will give you are visibility. It'll help you stand out in a crowded marketplace. And you talked about getting a phone call every other day from a different wholesaler. So none of those guys probably stood out to you.
No, they're all annoying.
The same level of annoyance,
Yes.
right? But if somebody, so let's just take that for an example, then we'll answer the rest of your question. But
Sure.
if somebody were to call you and say, "Hey, I'm Joey, the wholesaler," and introduce themselves that way, they're not going to sound any different from anybody else. But if they called and said, "Hey, I'm Joey, the wholesaler. I'm every landlord's favorite wholesaler," and you're like, oh, "Okay," he stands out a little. And of course, that's just a minor thing that he said, but he's added to his elevator pitch. He's created a differentiator. He's like, "Oh," and you're be curious. You're like, "Why is he every landlord's favorite wholesaler?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?" Let me ask another question. And he might still be annoying, but at least you remember his name.
Yeah.
That's something that branding would help give to people who are operating a small portfolio of buy and holds. It gives you credibility. It shows that this is not a hobby, it's a business.
Yep.
I've taken time to define my mission. I've got values that guide me. And I don't need to necessarily share those values with my customers or tenants or anybody else, but they guide me through every decision. I'm going to know where I want to buy my properties. I'm going to know the type of properties I want to buy. I'm going to know how I'm going to treat my tenants, the level of improvement I'm going to make, because I'm going to understand where I'm aiming for, and I'm going to be guided by those things. And I'm not going to have to make decisions on the spot. I'm going to always have that rule that helps me understand these are the right deals for me. And those other ones, they're not for me because it doesn't fit my mission.
Yeah. I think that example of Joey is frankly just so subtle, but yet so powerful, because one of the things that, again, going back to my 18 months ago wholesalers, and again, in a market today where there's no listings, the ability to stand out one standard deviation or one follow-up question, even if it's, "Oh, why are you the favorite wholesaler of landlords?" is that extra 5 seconds is game changing. Because if you call me and go ahead.
Well, so this is a game these days, especially. It's a game of inches, right? I mean, it's like every small level of advantage we can gain in any business, but especially now with what we're talking about here in real estate, gains you the ability to get a little closer to a deal, and that gets you a little closer to closing the deal. So yeah, anything you can do to stand out. And it might be a name, it might be a good elevator pitch, it might be like a fantastic logo. Those are elements of your brand, but they're not the brand itself. They are the outward expression of what your brand is. But your brand has to be built on something solid, a more solid foundation in order to give you credibility.
So you've said this phrase, 2-word phrase, I think 3 times already. It might have been 4, but I don't think most people get it. And that is mission driven. So help explain, maybe give a sample of what one might be. Maybe give a sample of one that is not good, just so people can see both sides, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we'll take the bad example first. A bad mission statement might be, "I'm in real estate." First of all, it should be something like, "I do X because of X." So there has to be a reason in there. You could say, I buy real estate to make money. That's
There you go.
that's a bad mission, because there are going to be times when you're not making money,
Yeah.
and it's not going to help you get closer to the right deals. If you're only looking for a deal that makes money, you might pick some that aren't going to make you enough money, or some that might look good on the surface, but when you dig in, you've you've miscalculated something. If a better mission would be, I want to buy and hold real estate because I want more freedom with my family. Okay, or more time with my family. So that would help you start to understand. And again, this is just the very tip of the iceberg in
Right.
understanding what your mission might be. So you're like, okay, I know I'm not going to get involved. If I want more time, I'm probably not going to be a house flipper,
Right.
because either that, or I'm going to have to bring in a staff, because house flipping is a time intensive process. Whereas um, holding some larger buildings that don't have as much need for improvements, you're going to have more time. So it helps guide you that way. Another mission might be, I want to own real estate so that I can make people's dream homes, like low income families, dream homes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You might say, okay, so that might be a niche that you're going down. And so that's going to steer you, okay, toward a certain type of building, maybe in a certain neighborhood or area of town. But it's going to affect how you deal with tenants. It's going to affect how you treat them and how you improve the property for them. Again, these are just tips of the iceberg sorts of mission, but really understanding a passion that you have within the field. So if we're talking about buy and hold, what is the thing that makes you excited about it? And again, money is the outcome,
Yes.
but money isn't, it can't be the motivator, because it's going to be shallow. And like you said, it's going to make people burn out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Money is, I've been in sales for 30 some odd years. And if I talk to a commission sales rep and they're past their first job, maybe I'll accept it for their first job, right? Their first interview, I get it. But if you've been in the business 3 or 4 years and your answer is that, it's like, ooh, you're going to cut corners. You're going to do unprofitable things because you're thinking about your check, but I'm running a business. The cost of sale is going to be higher. You're going to have customer service problems, right? I'm running a bigger business, and you, Mr. and Mrs. Sales Rep, you're a problem. So I love the idea of being mission driven. What I'm hearing you say is your mission statement is something that will anchor your business. It will be reputation building, a plus, but also most importantly for me is it'll tell you what you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Absolutely. So I work with people, entrepreneurs who have good ideas. And what I've discovered is that people who have good ideas tend to have lots of good ideas. The problem there is that it can diminish your focus
Yeah.
if you're spreading yourself too thin. And if we turn that back to the world of real estate, we know that there are tons of ways that you can be involved in real estate as a profession, but you can't do all of them. I can't be a house flipper. I can't be a wholesaler. I can't be a syndicator. I can't be, a buy and hold. I can't be a broker. I can't do all of those things unless I have people who are going to help me. And I can't be good at all of those things unless I've developed capability or expertise in each of those areas. So having your mission helps you focus on something that hopefully you're good at, but to begin with, it should be something that you're passionate about, and you can develop your expertise in that area. There are just so many things that could distract us in life. And we think about people who are really high performing. If we think about athletes, they focus and they practice and they do their thing again and again and again. They would put a lot of us to shame with the level of dedication they have to the one thing they're trying to achieve. It's rare that people excel in 8 different sports, right? I
Right.
mean, it
No,
just
you're
doesn't
right.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I'm just playing with, because again, we're just going to use the real world example of one rental at a time, right? Kind of my story, my platform. When I think about what I'm trying to do with it, and again, nobody's ever asked me. I just kind of woke up and started doing, right? Which entrepreneurs do, right? They just wake up and do. They sometimes don't go slow to go fast. When I think about one rental at a time, what I'm trying to do here is create belief that financial freedom is possible for the ordinary person. I want to help create confidence by helping people understand what a good or bad deal is. And then most importantly, I want to help them take action, right? So when I think one rental at a time, everything I'm doing, those are the kind of 3 anchors. Obviously they're not said in a clean sentence, but those Those are what makes up one rental at a time. From what you've seen, am I close? Am I off? How would you tweak it? What do you think?
Well, the interesting thing is that, so even if somebody has never gone through the process of understanding their mission, something does drive them.
Oh, sure.
But once you're able to articulate it the way you have, let's say you were to set those down on paper, you have a guide to help you answer a lot of questions and make decisions as they come up. So like the things you said there, the one in the middle about, I think it was about making it realistic or making it achievable for people. That steers the types of topics you're going to talk about. You're not going to talk about like get rich quick here.
No,
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's not going to be something. So you've decided the topics that make sense for your audience. And that's something else we should say, is that your mission has to intersect with something that people need.
Right.
Because you can be really passionate about something and really good at something, but if people don't need it, if to gain traction, that's not a business, that's a hobby.
Yeah.
But what you're describing sounds to me a lot like a mission. And I don't know if you've codified it, if you've written it down on paper, but that's
I did about 5 seconds ago. I'm like, I got to ask him a question. I'm gonna get some free consulting.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Yeah. But absolutely, ask me as many questions as you want. If you want to turn it more toward the business here, that's fantastic.
Sure.
But what it sounds like to me is that you have a mission, and I'm not sure that you've established values that support that mission. I bet they exist, but you should, if you take some time to think about that, like what are the things that inform that mission? Is it a need you have? Is it a desire to serve others? Is it the it could be anything. You could say, there are just too many shady real estate podcasts out there. I want to make one that's good. I mean, like,
You're hinting at it. I'm going to use this as free consulting. So I have thought about this because again, I'm lucky enough where I have financial independence. I really can choose how I spend my day. And I've set up my life where I can do most of my work before 10 a.m. because my she's a night owl. I'm an early bird. So I have about 4 hours where I can do whatever I want because it's just me. And this is how I choose to do it with one rental at a time mission. But what am I not going to do? A, I'm never going to talk about get rich quick. B, I'm never going to do expensive one-on-one mentoring. Why? Because I don't want to help the rich people, right? I grew up ridiculously poor, and I want to create something that the average person can take part in. It's not going to be free because I tried that for a while and people don't value free. So I have a $15 book on Amazon or Audible. I have free stuff on YouTube. And then for the people that really want to see exactly what I did, I have a $200 course. It's $199. It's how to get started one rental at a time. It's everything I do today. That's it. And go ahead.
What you've done is you have built this brand. So even if you didn't know you were doing it, you built it in a very focused way. And you know who you want to talk to and you know who you don't want to talk to.
Yep.
And it's really insightful that you've gone through that process, or maybe it just happened naturally where these things just fell into place. But when you talk about the types of investor you're looking to help, so you're probably not gonna talk about the 5,000 unit apartment complex syndication that somebody just got involved in, because that's not necessarily, it's difficult for somebody to get into. I mean, even experienced people. So people at the start, you might talk about singles and duplexes and working up to like a fourplex or a 6-unit building, something like that. So once you understand your mission, you know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
And it helps clarify what you do for marketing. So you're not going to try and appeal to everybody, because you can't. You just simply can't appeal to everybody, and you won't appeal to everybody. But your mission guides you toward a specific audience, and it helps you make certain marketing decisions. So you put effort into creating the $200 course, but you didn't put effort into creating a $5,000 course. You didn't waste your time with that, because while you could probably do that, that's not something that's interesting to you. It doesn't fit with your passion. So yeah. I think you're onto the right track. You're way beyond onto the right track. I mean,
yeah. Again, this is all just coming into place. No thinking. The other thing, again, free coaching. I love it. So one of the things that I've did years ago is when you get to a point where financial independence is a real possibility, right? So I'm rewinding the clock 3 or 4 years. You get asked to speak at a lot of real estate meetups. And what I saw was people loved the story, right? This individual, him and his wife, built a portfolio of 200 units in California. It's a great story. People applaud, they smile, they want to take pictures with you, but they go to the car and they don't take action. It drove me crazy. So what I do now is I spend most of my time talking about getting to 4. I want to help you go from 0 to 4 residential properties. Whether that's 4 houses or 4 fourplexes, I don't care. It's 4 residential properties. And it's been surprising to see the uptick in action people are taking, because I guess people can believe in 4, right? They can't believe in 200. They can, but they can believe in 4.
What's the magic that happens after 4? Do you see, is that like critical mass? Is that
Well,
like your method?
4 was originally picked because it was easy to get 4 loans. About 2 years ago, the lending environment stopped at 4. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just talk about 4 because that's all people can get. We don't need to talk about anything else. Now what happens is I go 0 to 4, then 4 to 10, and then 10 and beyond. Because again, it's all about the lending environment. I don't want to get past the outside constraints. And again, I don't want to get so big, right? 5,000 unit syndications, bigger is better, be a limited partner in a GP and all these other things, because I want to build belief in the individual. I want you to take action and build confidence in yourself. I think, I think there's a lot of shady people in social media that are going to just rip people off as the multifamily market implodes a little. And it's a shame. I want to help people build confidence in themselves. And if they do the right things, if the answer is, wow, they got a better deal, I'm going to invest with them. Great. But don't just do it because they got 1 million Instagram followers. It's crazy.
Yeah, what you're talking about now is interesting, because this is we're shifting from just a topic on mission-driven brand to trustworthiness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's crucial in building successful brands. And you talked about credibility there. You talked about empathy, and you talked about alignment of interests. Those are 3 of the 4 factors that I see in building something that's trustworthy. So you talked about understanding, the mindset or the realities of an investor. And so that's like, hey, you can only get 4 loans. That's what we're going to talk about. You didn't talk about, something that was beyond their reality. So empathy is the single most important factor in developing trustworthy relationships with people. A lot of people might have different definitions of how trust is created. Our agency is called Trust Deep. We focus on building trust, mutually rewarding, trustworthy relationships with people. But I see 4 factors, and you're hitting on 3 of them. You probably have 4 in there too, if we dig a little deeper. But the 4 factors are credibility. That's how well you can talk about the thing you're supposed to be an expert in. Track record, which comes down to if you're able to accomplish the things you say you're going to accomplish over a long and consistent period of time. The third one is that human factor, empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your ability to understand someone else's reality. And you don't necessarily have to agree with it. You just have to understand what they're going through. And the fourth one is alignment of interests, which means that you and they have the same outcome. And alignment of interests doesn't always happen with empathy, and empathy doesn't always happen with alignment of interests.
Sure.
But every trustworthy relationship has those 4 components in different measures. I mean, it's different if you're buying a pair of shoes versus investing in a home. So it really depends on the type of transaction or the type of relationship. But those 4 factors play a key in every successful relationship.
Oh, this has been a lot of fun. So tell me more about Trust Deep. How can people go find out more about it, know more about your agency? There's a lot there. I'm having a lot of fun here, but how can they follow and reach out?
Sure. So our agency, our website is trustdeepagency.com. We work with entrepreneurs and startups. Usually we prefer to work with people one-on-one, companies that are at a small level. And people can come to the site and they can sign up for a free consultation. I mean, you're welcome to, we can have another conversation too,
Awesome.
Michael, about your business, but anybody can get the same sort of question and answer session. We listen. That's the best way to find out how we can help people, is to hear their situation and hear what their challenges are with their with their business. But yeah, trustdeepagency.com.
You know what we might want to do? This again, this is just totally off the top of the head. We can actually set up another interview where you interview me and we'll record it. And that way people can really see what Trust Deep and Stace is all about. And by the way, I get some free consulting.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So we'll schedule that after this one is done. There's still a couple of things I'd love to talk. Again, we should do that because it'll just show folks, you know, what you could do for them. I think there's something there. So when you think about, again, taking action, focus, brand, reputation, you know, when do you think somebody should start doing this? Is it right when they have the idea? Is it after they get a little money in the door? You know, when does it evolve, right? Do you have checkpoints, right? Do you have to evaluate it every year and see if something changed? How does somebody massage all this? Because I'm sure even the best intentions of a mission-driven focus will change over time as you learn more, I would think.
That's true. That's true. So the time to begin understanding what you're doing, and you don't have to necessarily formalize all of this at the beginning. And I wouldn't say to somebody who's contemplating investing in real estate, hey, come work with a branding agency. I wouldn't suggest that. It is a process that you can ladder up to.
Okay.
But something people need to understand at the very beginning is the reason why they're doing something, not what they're doing, not how they're going to do it, but why they're going to do it. Because when things get more difficult or things get challenging, or you're looking to scale up, that reason is going to steer you in the right direction. The why, like you've heard of the expression, find your why. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing people need to do. And you can do that for free. That's the thing. Before you even buy a home, before you even go apply for a loan for a home, an investment property, understand why this matters to you. And that's the thing that's going to drive you, because this is going to get difficult as you go through it, and success is not easy. And you built your portfolio of 200 homes, and it was not easy. There were challenges along the way, and you had to keep returning back to that thing, the why. Like, why do I keep doing this? Like, what is that goal? Like creating some people will create like a vision board of the thing they're aspiring to. That's helpful. But even if you don't do that, just understanding why you're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can tell you the why of one rental at a time. The why of one rental at a time is I've gotten to a place where income's not the problem, right? I can pay my bills, and I'm going to sit on this shelf and I'm going to reach my hand down and pull as many people up as I can. And that drives me crazy sometimes, because in a world where social media flaunts excess, I still sometimes feel like, you freaking idiot, why don't you keep going? Go get a Bentley or a private jet or some other stupid thing. And then I turn around after I beat myself up for 60 minutes going, you don't want those freaking things, stupid. So stop thinking about them. So, it's a constant internal battle for sure for me.
But what's driving you though. So since you've made that decision, you don't have to have those. I mean, you thought about it, but you didn't make those mistakes. You don't have a loan for a Bentley at the moment, do you?
No, nothing. But I guess what I'm saying is my why is anchored. It's known, right? I want to help. I want to reach down and pull people up. I'm comfortable where I'm at, but I personally still get bombarded daily with outside forces telling me I'm stupid when I see my social media feed and a guy's flaunting a Ferrari or a private jet. I still get those internal tug and pulls. I won't lie.
Well, I mean, Ferrari's a nice car. But you have a set of values that guide you. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with owning a Ferrari or
if that's you, that's you. Be you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's the thing, is that you have to do the thing that you do, because building a trustworthy brand has a lot to do with authenticity. You can't pretend to be somebody else. It doesn't work long term. You can fool sometimes people for a little bit, but it does not build long-term success. And with people who are buy and hold, you're in this for the long haul.
Oh,
so
decades,
whether you
man.
want to build credibility with your tenants or homeowners that you're trying to buy a home from, or brokers or lenders or contractors, you need to build long-term credibility. You have to play the long game, and you're going to be driven by your values and your mission.
Yeah, it's funny because we are going to have this next call. One rental at a time for me is several components. There's the education or inspiring or whatever you want to call that portion of the business. There is providing a high quality, affordable rental, which is what really started before there was even one rental at a time. That was the portfolio that we retired on. Mm-hmm. But when you really get into this, there's private money, right? I'm leveraging millions of dollars in private money. And there's a, brand impact and mission there, right? You want to return capital, you want to provide, double-digit returns, all of that. But yeah, there's all of this has to work together. And oh, by the way, I freaking bought a building in Fresno, which is where I invest, called The Hub, where I'm putting a lot of talented other real estate professionals, because I want one rental at a time to kind of envelop that as well and make everybody bigger and better. So lots of stuff going on.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So, but you had the purpose, like you said, before you even named it, one rental at a time. You went through the process of naming it, which is awesome. You understood, like, you made it simple for people to understand, like, this process that we're going through, the process that I went through, the process that I want others to go through is one rental at a time, because you knew it was a path to success, and it was something real that could happen. It was achievable to others. But wow, the fact that it's grown in such a way that it obviously you're driven by a mission, and you haven't been distracted. You haven't gone down paths that have led you to ruin. You didn't, again, you don't have the loan on a Bentley or something like that. Like,
right.
But you haven't gone down. You haven't diffused your energy. You've stayed focused on the thing that matters to you, and you're able to scale that up. You said something earlier before about how your mission changes, and I don't know if your mission changes. I think it morphs, right? But you might still have the same kernel that drove you at the beginning, guides you now. You're able to scale it though. So you probably wanted to just buy homes for yourself at the beginning to retire for yourself, but then you took that and you applied it to other people. Like, hey, can I help this group of people locally? You talked at meetup, and then you said, hey, let me do this on a podcast. Or wait, let me do this. Let me have courses. So that mission is the same mission. You've just been able to scale it up.
No, I think you nailed it. And as you were walking through, that's exactly what happened, right? It's funny. I had no plan, right? I retired at 45, which was years ago now. I'm sitting at the kitchen table going, what the freaking heck do I do now? And I revisit what we did, which is how did we do it? We did it one rental at a time. And I'm like, that's what we did. There's something there.
Yeah.
And that's where this is all blown up from. So I'm going to look forward to our next conversation. Any closing thoughts? Maybe you want to give the website address again. And
sure.
Go ahead.
It's trustdeepagency.com.
No spaces, no dashes, nothing, just
one long word. And the thing I'd like to leave your listeners with is this idea of find your mission, or understand your why, your purpose, and let that guide you. And so even if you never go to our website, even if you never listen to another episode or anything, again, just understand, and it'll guide you, help you in all aspects of your life, whether it's investing or business or personal relationships, understanding why you're in that situation and what you need to get out of it, and what you can give in that situation.
Very cool, Stacey. It's been so much fun. I've gotten a lot out of this. I look very much forward to our next conversation. You have a wonderful week, okay?
You too. Take care.